Cool. Oh,
Yeah, I just started recording. Yeah, you are good to go.
okay, cool.
Good luck.
There we go. PowerPoint. Okay, so my capstone project was a database. I guess database sharing technology is pretty accurate. There we go. We'll go through the agenda. Everyone will have the same thing. So there's a game called Magic the Gathering, right? And it's got like maybe 50 million players around. Famous artist Post Malone just bought a single card, like a little rectangle cardboard, like 2.5 million euros, because people place a lot of value on these. My father owns a store called Shield Comics and Games, and we definitely have at least 500,000 cards for sale. That's a lot to go through. And they're sorted by age and like when they came out, but they're in large boxes that carry about 5,000 cards each. And anytime somebody's looking for a mildly obscure card, we have to go through hundreds at a time to really find what we're looking for. And half the time we don't even have it, and they're just kind of left disappointed. And we're not the only store that does this. I know at least 3 others in the state that kind of just have the same situation. There's one that has a rudimentary database working out, but it's not amazing. So I wanted to fix that, right? Me as somebody who sorts and sells these cards, it would be much easier if I could just make a quick little search, see what I have in the database, and sell them through that, so we don't have to spend 30 minutes looking for something that doesn't exist. So there's already apps that really help start this project. They allow you to search for cards based on the whole list of every possible card that's ever come out. There's an app that allows you to scan them through the camera. It's super easy. You don't even have to take a photo, it just scans. And it adds it to a list. Using that app, you can export card data in a CSV file. That's comma separated value, it's just information. And the intent of the app that I wanted to develop is to manage personal and professional collections. As a store, we can hold on to all the cards that we have, and even personally, like if somebody wants to make a trade with each other, that shouldn't be that hard to develop from a basis of just a database. Let's see, related work that I found. Most of the work on this project comes from app development. This is something that I hadn't worked on before at all, so I didn't really know where to start. The database programming part itself, I wouldn't have found too complicated, but there's a lot of extra work in it that I didn't know how to do. Notably, we're also using that scanning app from TCG Player because it's, as far as I can tell, the best way to access large lists of cards. So my primary goal is to create that database that will hold on to cards and allow you to share the information. It'll need to import those files. We'll have a little example later on. It'll pull vital information from the internet. The company that makes it does host a website that carries all of the images and pertinent information for cards. That'll be like their names, when they came out, every possible attribute that a card could have. Naturally, the app should be searchable, so if you don't have to scroll through a giant list. And it'll handle user accounts, meaning we can, like if I have a username and you have a username, we can look at each other's lists just using this app. Naturally, it'll be fully custom. So the design that I wanted to go for was simple buttons. There are only a few options available. You don't really have to do much with the app. You just need to be able to do what you need easily. That would be uploading a list of cards, searching through your own collection, and searching through other people's collections. Then there would also be like a login settings option. And that's really just 4 options. That's pretty easy. I'm sure later down the line I would find something else that would be really useful that I didn't think of at first, but that's kind of how projects go. So the implementation, we'll be able to look at the prototype that I have in the bottom left here a little later on. And on the right, we have a basic CSV file. It doesn't carry a lot of information, and it could be much more complicated, but just for a quick overlay, we have the quantity of cards, the name of the card, and essentially when it came out, which is easy enough. So data collection. Yes, so the capstone project was a lot more research heavy than I had anticipated. I had assumed that it would be more of a showcase of technical skill than researching and developing a scholarly article. But that's what we got, and I don't know, I think it worked out okay. I managed to find a lot of resources and was able to analyze them in ways that aligned with the class. So what I needed from all of my sources were the best possible development tools and techniques, because as I hadn't developed anything previously, I didn't really know where to begin. I didn't know how to publish anything. I didn't know how to even find a development environment that would help. I'm sure Visual Studio would, but the one that I ended up finding was Android Studio, which is its own thing. And it worked pretty well. It has nice little drag and drop things. Very comprehensive. I would also need a guide on basic development that I could use to make everything go a little bit faster. 10-week class isn't that long, and this is a lot of information for me to try to learn in that time period. Sources of this data, I primarily used RefSeq Core and the IEEE Scholarly database. Actually, it was primarily the IEEE, but it worked. It shows you a bunch of articles, and they were useful. Data analysis, as I searched through those things, actually. Developed literature review for each source, determine viability. Yeah, so I would look through every paper, find how much of that paper could be influential on my project and useful to what I needed. Scholarly publications, which is primarily what I was searching through, especially when they have literature reviews. They are peer reviewed, right? They're good. We can trust those, so that's kind of what I stuck with. And noting each sections of each source, because some of these papers are long. They're like 20 pages even, and I can't find all of that to be useful because nothing has been made to be exactly the problem that I have. But I can mix and match little pieces of all of these, and that goes into the references, and that's how I develop my project. Findings, primarily what I got out of all of these papers was that the language of choice should be Kotlin. This is a relatively new language for app development. It's used above Java because Kotlin can import Java libraries and functionalities just within itself. So it kind of is just encompassing more abilities. Development guided along by the book Program in Kotlin by S. Samuel and S. Bocuccio. That book was great. It really does just kind of walk you through all of the initial stuff. A bunch of the beginning is traditional language things. That's fine. But it gets into the intricacies of Kotlin more than I needed. Very useful. And then web scraping techniques. That would be my processes of pulling information from the internet. Like my app wouldn't have to ship with all of the images of the cards because that would just make it very, very large. And the web scraping could pull those images from the database online and make the app, I mean, it's not necessarily important, but look prettier. You would be able to recognize cards by image. That and cards have a lot of information that might not be included in the CSV file, and all of the implied information could be pulled from the internet. Conclusion, it's progress. This is a big project. I did not have time to finish it anywhere near as much as I wanted to make it, as functional as possible. But but I think I made a lot of good steps. A lot of the research seemed to be the intent behind the class. I mean, I'm hoping I did well enough. Haven't gotten graded yet, but you know, it's going. Future work. My next goal is design. It looks really bad right now, but that's not really my priority. I'm focusing more on function over form. It's kind of a joke because the design isn't that important, but at least not to me. I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna have to have a lot of people test it. People who are even more well versed in this than I am. And also the scraping hasn't been implemented yet. That's my next step. I just haven't gotten that far. That's all it is, really. Key references, these are the important ones. I do have a list on the essay that is not in this presentation, but yeah, here you go. Primary resource for learning Kotlin development, information web scraping, and getting card, which is what getting card information comes from. And the bottom one, let me choose more easily that I would be using Kotlin and Android Studio to develop. And, you know, I think it worked out. I liked the choices. Actually, before I hit Q&A, we can share the whole screen. There we go. This should be a little prototype that works. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm using Figma right now because my computer definitely couldn't handle the actual emulator. So the idea is not even a black screen. It should look prettier than this even. But the top left up here, we can view your collection, right? You can search through your collections and cards, different categories. You can make lists just like playlists on a music app. And if you tap on one, you know, you get a few cards. It initially was planned to be just Magic cards, but TCG Player and a bunch of other resources include Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're all also large markets. So it really wouldn't be that much more work to implement those cards as well. I believe I can hit back. Nice. Almost. It's all right. It's a little slow. I don't want to take too much time, but this one, you know, you can search people, find other people's usernames. You'll be able to look through their lists. Preferably, there would be lists of public and private information so that you could have your database available to you for what you need and public for whatever you're willing to share with people. Over here, it's the upload. It also comes with an option. TCG Player also comes with an option to copy paste, so we could do that, but it is taking in the same exact information, so it wouldn't matter in terms of my program. We only have one left. Yeah, it's worth it. And then logging in, you know, enter username, log in. I made it a little bit different. I didn't want to use passwords in this because I'm not super confident in my ability in security. So after the username login, I would just use a PIN, some easy number that doesn't really matter too much for outside things. Because you don't want, say, for example, your Facebook hacked if my program ends up leaking your password. But a PIN, nobody else really uses. Maybe a credit card, but hopefully you don't use the same one for every PIN. That's just a little bit of safety that I was looking into. Yeah, that's what I have on this actually. So hopefully that helps with the idea. Can I make this?
Yeah, that's great presentation, Daniel. I have a question. Like, what are the database? Which database did you use here?
It's built into itself. It currently uses just the app itself to hold all the information that's useful.
Okay, so basically through Figma, you design the application and you're storing and processing the data.
Figma is a development tool that's for like visualizing what you want it to look like. So there's no real functionality in that one. It's just way easier for this presentation to actually be able to look at. The emulator that runs with the development kit is much more resource intensive, and I couldn't run it at the same time that I was in a Zoom call. So that's separate.
Okay. Thank you. Ajay, do you have any question?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Thanks.
fine. Thank you, Daniel. Ajay, are you good to start your
Yes,
presentation?
yes, I
Mhm.
am. Yep.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. 1 second. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. So my project name is Device Master. It's like managing IoT device. So just to give you a brief overview, it is first thing it manages like I'm trying to build a software which will manage all the IoT devices which we have maybe in the office, maybe in the business or any store. Currently, we have a lot of IoT devices like Alexa, a lot of Apple devices, a lot of sprinkler, even some sensors. So, bunch of IoT devices and bunch of software to manage those devices. So, my project is to manage all the device into an integrated platform. And the second feature which I'm trying to cover is to uh, push my code into the IoT devices at the runtime. Like if the device is running and if I want to make a changes into a device, I should be able to do that. So that is my project. So moving to next slide. This is regular one. Yeah, so the problem statement, like I said, like we have a lot of IoT devices, and to manage each and every devices, like the even for the AC, we have lot devices. For each and everything, we have devices, and that currently there are some tools, but it has its own advantage and disadvantage, which I will cover into a next slide. So my aim is to manage it into one platform, and it should be easy to use. That is the problem statement. Um, the third is like motivation behind this is like I have created a template by using PY4 web. It is a Python-based web application framework, and it is just in time. The framework comes into just in time. What I mean is like if there is any changes at the back end, it will be reflected into a front end. And my project is more into a backend. So, and the code is also written in Python, and this project deals with lot of networking stuff. So that's why I want like if I make a changes, it should be reflected into the IoT devices. So that is the motivation behind this. So edge computing currently like a lot of software which is deployed onto cloud. That is like it has some latency. So if we use the edge computing, the latency can be drastically reduced because it is basically close to the user. And if we have those like if we are using edge computing, the latency, for example, it is 1 millisecond, it will be zero point 0.5 milliseconds. So that is why and my application is also onto the networking side. So I have to use like or uh, I have to use edge computing. So that is, and I have also covered the advantage, like it mitigates latency and reduce centralized cloud processing. So related work, like I said, like currently there are a lot of mm, framework like Smart Thing, Home Assistant, Alexa, Alexon, Device Master. But as we can see, it has its own advantage and disadvantage. Some required subscription, some required lot of customization, and it's a it's tedious work to do all this customization, and there is no easy tool through which we can push our or set any instruction or give any instruction to the IoT device. So, so for example, smart thing, it need a cost. So, if we have a generic platform where we can manage this and which is free and easy to use and which required no subscription, I think it will be great. So that is why I'm trying to cover this. So, edge computing I've already covered. Security concern. Um, Basically, like if we are dealing with IoT device, it has to be secured. So the aim of this project is to use all the security feature which is currently into all the cloud platform. Like if you're moving to edge computing, there are a lot of encryption technology which is presently available from the cloud provider. So we can reduce the security using those security guidelines from all the cloud provider. Yeah. So approach is this is a high level diagram or the flow chart. Like user will comes to log in into the platform, and through that platform it will operate its IoT devices. So the right side is the user, left side is my server, and the server the bottom side is like output logs and code. So the second feature which I was trying to cover is like send some executable code into an IoT devices, and that IoT device will execute the code. And once it execute on its box, it will send some logs to me or to a server, and from the logs I will detect whether the last instruction which I have sent to the IoT device is successful or not, or it has some error. Then recall that last instruction. So that is the bottom picture. So on the technology, mostly have used Python, PY for web, uh, and couple of CSS and currently I'm not using any uh, open source or Oracle or any kind of NoSQL database. It is SQLite is an in-memory database. Uh, yeah. So why PY4? As I said, like first thing, it's support. It has a good amount of support for all the login framework, including all the social site which we have. It is it comes into just in time compiler. Um, it has its own portal. It gives all the feature for which we need a separate portal to bring into a picture. For example, we can view the database and we can easily create the REST service for that. So that is I think that's the biggest advantage, and that is the reason I have choose P by 4 web. So architecture diagram. So there are two portal. One is the server. I'm calling it as a management portal, and the second is the user portal where the actual device is. So there are currently there are four components, which is user management. I have the user registration screen, and second is device management screen, procedure handling, and the output and log sync up. Each has its own database, which I have shown at the bottom of the diagram, which is user, device, procedure, output, and logs. And so this will be a kind of REST service, like the interface is the REST service, and all the communication will be done using the REST service. So this is the UI. I will give the demo and how it looks like. But this is the server side and this is the backend side. Yeah, I will go for the demo.
It looks great. I like it.
Thanks.
Have you done any work on the security portion of it?
Yes, I can take that question once I'm done with the demo.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. So like I said, like mm, yeah. So this is a PY4 dashboard. Currently, I have two services. One is master service, which is an actual server, and this is the IoT client. Just for the demo perspective, I have created the IoT client, how from the user perspective, how it will look like. And these are a couple of REST services which currently I have created. And as I said, like it has its own tools to show the database as well as to manage its database. It has its own logging mechanism. If any error is there, it will show me the error. So I don't have to go to any Unix box, type some command and get the server logs. I can just go to this portal and figure out what is the root cause. Yeah, so yeah, this is my master device. This is a backend, like this is a server basically. It has its own login feature. It has change password. This thing is I haven't managed. Like it is provided by PY4. I just need to give some. I just need to configure what I want, and it will do its own magic. Um, then is a register device. For I'm just have some example. For example, device this once this is a basic screen. I need to add a couple of like it. I need to have a thorough research on what are the fields that I need to register. But this is like for demo. These are the basic fields. So once this is done, it will be shown to the all devices screen. It has like the basic feature we can add, we can delete, and we can also execute the procedure. So yeah, this one. Now, for example, I want to set the timer for device 17. Just say set timer equals to 20 millisecond. Will execute, and it is from server side it is done. From client side, once you give the ID device, it will show all the basic detail of the IoT device. And the last instruction was this one, and when it was get executed. Uh, this screen, it is like output screen. What are the output of for the execution, which is being done. And if any logs is pending, if there are any error at the client side, it will also show, and we can have the sync up like button. It will send it to the server. So this feature will not be shown to the user because mostly it is the mobile devices. This is a background service, but just from demo perspective, I have shown it here. Um, my plan was to give this demo on the cloud platform, but I try to set up, but I'm facing some issues, so I was not able to set up on the cloud, but I will try to do this. And yeah, so like those are the like features which I have integrated. There are a lot of things which I need to do, and it is in the future scope. Like the basic is like the IoT device which is being run. It needs its own runtime compiler and executioner. So I'm trying to find some Sorry. So I'm trying to find its some runtime compiler and its own runtime, which is on the fly. I don't have to install it. So that is one of the feature which I need to research more. Any questions? So Daniel, you were saying something. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I was wondering how you implemented security procedures. It's nice to see this project so complete as is. Um,
So from security perspective, like currently only the hashing is I have implemented the basic hashing, which is SHA-256. That's the only basic hashing which I have implemented. But the plan is once I deploy this application, all the REST services, I'm deploying this on AWS, so it has its own security tools. I just need to configure which REST service I have to encrypt and decrypt. So basically, that REST service, all the parameter will be all the basic encryption will be done from the AWS site itself. Only on the client side, I need to manage. Rest of the server side, it will be managed by AWS itself.
Excellent. This looks great.
So basically, this application is used for registration of IoT devices and manage them, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one thing which I was trying to cover, and I tried to did some research, is this thing. Let me share. Yeah, this. For example, if I set some instruction, which is let's say send the current temperature, send current
Mm-hmm.
temperature. So this will get sent to the IoT device, and IoT device will send me the output. But
Mm-hmm.
to all the IoT device has its own, so background platform. It can be on Java, it can be on C#, it can be on anything. So to compile it and to run it on the fly, that is what I was trying to find out. I thought like to use you like shell script, like shell script and run it on the user and send the output. But all all platform is not Unix or Apple. Some are Windows as well. So that is one of the things which I was trying to cover, but because of I don't get any foolproof kind of runtime apart from like UI is there, but it is only on JavaScript. But yeah, there is no on the fly where I can just execute the instruction. So that was I was trying to cover, but I think I need to do more research on that.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Ajay. Daniel, do you have any questions? If not, I will stop this recording and I will ask Asya to pull us into the main meeting.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also good.